All right. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining this first session of 2026 of Firewise 101. And today I wanted to focus on empowering Firewise, so kind of going through the contributions from the last year, a summary of some contributions. And to introduce myself, I'm Jennifer Valadez. I'm the project manager for the Fire Safe Council for Monterey County. Thank you, Pam, our treasurer, for being here as well. And today's session, like I said, we'll just be going over some stats, celebrating all the work that Firewise communities in Monterey County have contributed, are working towards, and then going over some of Fire Safe Council's plans for 2026. All right, so just a bit of housekeeping before we dive into the meat of today's session. So today it will be recorded and will be available on YouTube. We'll be holding, the office hours at the end and leave room for some Q&A. Our website is firesafemonterey.org. Check for some resources and upcoming events. I try to keep that calendar of these community events and future events updated on a monthly basis. And some community events that are coming up this month is pretty packed for the next couple weeks. So the UP, or the United Policyholders, Wildfire Risk Reduction and Asset Protection Project Working Group session on Zoom with a Zone 0 Board of Forestry and Fire Protection representative is on the 20th between 1 and 2 on Zoom. Also, Karma River Watershed Conservancy next Thursday, their Science and Cork series. They'll be having a CSUMB researcher on wildfire, drought, and flooding in the watershed. So really cool, have some wine and learn about the watershed next week. On that same day, we have our board meeting in the morning. So the open session is between 10:30 a.m. and noon at the Cal Fire Dispatch and on Zoom. Then on the 30th, at the end of this month, the Carmel Valley Firewise group will be meeting again, like they did last year, on fire insurance and safety between 5:30 and 7:30 at the Tuller Cedar multi-purpose room. And since actually we have a kind of on medium-sized group today, so if you would like to wait for any questions at the end or drop them in the chat, I have them here and I'll answer them as we go along. If you would not like to be recorded and posted on YouTube, you can turn off your camera, and then the post-meeting survey that launches after you exit out of the Zoom is totally optional, but greatly appreciated. And yeah, office hours at the end. Oh, I see Pam has her hand up. An additional comment here. I don't, Pam, I think you're muted here.
Okay, so just one correction. This is this month has 5 weeks. So our board meeting is actually on the last Thursday, which falls on the 29th, not the 22nd. Okay.
Good
Thanks.
note. Thanks, Pam.
Okay.
I think I had so on the 29th as a correction for the board meeting. Still at the Cal Fire Dispatch and available on Zoom. Thanks, Pam. Okay, so moving on. Some of our agenda, the pre-meeting survey is totally optional, just kind of gauging where everyone is coming from and where you're at in the Firewise process, or if you're a partner organization. What is Firewise? Kind of laying down what it is. Also a review of Firewise communities in Monterey County. Contribution summary, 2025 contributions, and then some goals and activities Fire Safe Council has for 2026. So I'll be launching that pre-meeting survey. Again, totally optional, but greatly appreciated. I'll just give maybe a minute or so, a minute and a half for everyone to answer if they'd like to, and then I'll end it. I see that some already recognize Firewise sites. And okay. Okay, I think I'll just end it now. Thank you all who answered it and closing it. Okay, so what is Firewise? So Firewise is a national program led by the National Fire Protection Association that provides guidelines for communities to take action and reduce wildfire risk. It encourages residents to work together through education, collaboration, and actionable measures or those wildfire risk reduction tasks or actions. It requires for a board to form and come together to be kind of the leadership for the group, a wildfire risk assessment, an action plan, and performing some educational outreach, such as that Carmel Valley Firewise Group panel, and also investing in wildfire risk reduction activities. Let's go over some benefits. Here on the side, I have, tools available to you from Fire Safe Council on Firewise. So that newsletter template, our Fire Safe Landscaping tool or pamphlet, and also these sessions here, Firewise 101. So as a Firewise USA community, you get access to resources, and a greater sense of community for the purpose of wildfire preparedness and other tools to do so. It's also a great community builder, creating a framework for action and reducing fuels, creating harder homes, also reducing home fire damage and risk. And then potential qualification for insurance discounts. Again, this is up in the air. This is something that's come up at the beginning of this year. So hopefully I will get more into what this would be. And then also strengthening community collaboration with local fire authority and local governments pertaining to wildfire. So specifically, Firewise communities in Monterey County. Here's the map from the NFPA. It was last updated in October, so some of them are not updated or aren't shown here. But you see a lot of our Firewise communities are centered around Carmel Valley, some in City of Monterey, Pacific Grove, some in the Highway 68 corridor, and a few in Big Sur. So in total, we had 59 communities in good standing at the end of the renewal process. But I also wanted to highlight the next following number, which is 58 total sites that include those that are in good standing and those who are in their pending application. So it kind of shows that whether they're in good standing or not, there's a great interest across Monterey County to become Firewise. So some annual contributions from Firewise. So in 2021, there were 13 communities, about 850 dwellings, 1,800 residents, over 3 million in personal investments, 15,000 wildfire risk reduction hours, and 288,000 cubic yards of vegetation removed. In 2022, we upped that number, or we doubled it by 33 communities, 800 dwellings, 3,800 residents, still around 3 million in personal investments, 43,000 wildfire risk reduction hours, 131,000 cubic yards of vegetation removed. In 2023, we saw a few more or several more communities added to have 42 communities, 1,200 dwellings, 3,700 residents, 6 million personal investments, 78,000 wildfire risk reduction hours, and 90,000 cubic yards of vegetation removed. And last year, we saw a jump to 54 communities, around 800 dwellings, 1,900 residents, over 8 million in personal investments, 70,000 in wildfire risk reduction hours, and over 300,000 cubic yards of vegetation removed. And this year, we had a total of 59 Firewise USA communities in Monterey County that are in good standing after the renewal process. We had 10,704 residents that are included in the Firewise USA communities, both in good standing and those pending an application that are interested. We had over 5,000 dwellings represented in Firewise communities in 2025, not 26. And over 15 million in personal investments from Firewise communities towards wildfire risk reduction in 2025. We also had over 300,000 cubic yards of vegetation removed within Firewise communities, whether it be around the home or in common spaces in Monterey County last year in 2025. So a summary of these contributions. So like I said, 59 in good standing. We're 10,000 residents represented, 5,000 dwellings represented, 15 million in personal investments, and 300,000 in wildfire risk reduction hours, and over 300,000 of cubic yards of vegetation removed in Monterey County. Also, these are sourced from the annual NFPA report and all these self-reported contributions from Firewise communities. And to kind of take a step back to see this growth in investments from Firewise communities towards wildfire risk reduction, that's been, kind of exponential, this growth of investments and all the work you all are doing and investing in creating safer homes and safer communities in Monterey County. Again, total investments between 2021 and 2025 have been over $30 million. So it's a lot of investments and a lot of money spent towards making our communities safer. And Firewise USA has been a great resource and a great community across Monterey County to push for safer communities. And here I kind of wanted to see where the wildfire risk reduction hours are going towards. So here we see a lot of investment within the common areas around communities, in landscaping, and then around the home, as well as in administration. We need the board to come together and use those hours to kind of brainstorm where, the common areas, which common areas will be used for chipping, landscaping, things like that. Again, over 300,000 wildfire risk reduction hours within Firewise communities in Monterey County. Again, this includes new, renewed, and in process communities that are working towards recognition. So how will we continue? How do we build on already really big numbers of contributions? So in 2026, again, continuing to connect with other local Firewise communities, coordinating community work like vegetation management parties, reducing fuels around the community, like you said, in landscaping or common areas, engaging with community members about the program, trying to get, neighbors, like we say, or a lot of times in Firewise meetings, we say you're just as safe as, the one home or your neighbor next to you. You're just as safe as them. Also coordinating the wildfire educational presentation and outreach events. So inviting folks to Firewise 101, on Monterey Bay Firewise forums, as well as the Carmel Valley Firewise groups. They've, brought together multiple groups to put on a speaker panel at the beginning of the year and then middle of the year. And those get really great participation and, start conversations about whether it be insurance, dealing with Zone 0, defensible space, emergency preparedness, and then advocate for wildfire risk reduction programs as well. And a way to do this could be by contributing to the Monterey County Community Wildfire Protection Plan. And then we have a website link here to how to do that on our website. Let's see if it loads. My Wi-Fi has been a little lagging, but on our website, you can see how to make comments on the CWPP. Our last Monterey Bay Firewise Forum focused on what CWPP is. It's basically a planning document and you can make comments on where you would like to see efforts and projects be done in Monterey County. So here, yeah, like I said, it's a collaborative community-based plan to guide the county-wide wildfire mitigation. And it was established under the Healthy Forest Restoration Act. Helps communities identify high-risk areas by creating the maps. You can also comment on those and prioritize mitigation projects and how we do so. And it's used to strengthen wildfire preparedness and resiliency. The Department of Emergency Management uses this as a guiding or like a planning document. RCD does as well. So it's a really powerful tool to get your priorities kind of spoken out onto a document that will be recognized for the next, I think, 10 years or so. And for Fire Safe Council in 2026, we would like to do the following activities: expanding for a Firewise kind of guidebook for post-recognition activities, such as how to administer a chipping program, how to engage the community for the long term, kind of focus on long-term sustainability and kind of scaling the Firewise community. Also continuing on wildfire preparedness educational events such as Firewise 101 and our forums. And then last year we had an event with MCAR, or the Monterey County Association of Realtors, on wildfire insurance and safety. And we would really love to do another panel like that in person, also recorded, for to have a better platform for important speakers and informational materials. Also, we would like to revise our plant list for fire safe landscaping. So right now we have our trifold, and the Carmel River Watershed Conservancy is one of our partners in one of our grant programs, and they've developed a really great vegetation management tool specific to the watershed. But as Fire Safe Council, for the entirety of Monterey County, really trying to look at what plants could you find locally for landscaping across the region in different kind of ecosystems that are found in Monterey County. And working on some hands-on workshops for the initial Firewise USA applications. Last year, I did some hands-on workshops for the renewals, but hopefully doing around 2 of renewals and then doing an initial application process to get that first recognition. And then co-hosting events with the Carmel River Watershed Conservancy on wildfire, drought, and flooding in the watershed. As you saw on that map, we had a lot of communities within the watershed region and in Carmel Valley that kind of need to assess both needs, both of the watershed and wildfire risk reduction needs around their home and in their communities. Also, another priority for us is to update the Monterey County Community Wildfire Protection Plan. So keep an eye out for when our next workshop will be, or more information on how we're going to continue that process. Right, and now at the end, I also wanted to comment, thank you to all the Firewise communities that are doing the boots on the ground work, and yeah, really putting this effort forward. We value your time and your efforts in everything you do for Monterey County, and we're here to help in any of those efforts, anything that you might need or might come up. I'm here to help. Pamela as well, and Fire Safe Council, is here to be some guidance and another tool for reducing fuels, reducing that risk of wildfire in your communities. So now I really want to open up the floor for any questions or comments. I know I had some chat here. And I think following the renewals, there should be some more coming out. I think Rainer, you had submitted for a Big Sur community, and I think that's still in progress. I'm not sure from the last time I heard from CAL FIRE on that, or on when they're looking at new applications.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for hosting these as well and preparing for them. Yeah, I'd spoken with Chief Redden last week, which is our CAL FIRE representative for the county of Monterey, and I think 6 other counties as well. And she had indicated that at the time that she was waiting for the NFPA to open up access to the portal for new applications because the NFPA had not completed approvals of all the renewals from 2025. So I'm hoping to hear from her soon, and if not, I'll give her a reminder call because we do have one community, which is Green Ridge in the Palo, Colorado area of Big Sur, submitted their application on December 5th for their
Mhm.
initial application. So so that's the status on that.
Yeah. I want to comment if the slides are available online. Yes, I published these slides for public use or for public view alongside the YouTube video that gets uploaded to our YouTube channel. And another comment is Fire Safe Council involved in any workshop or other sessions on evacuations? So for workshops on evacuations, that could be a topic for Firewise 101. In one of our previous Monterey Bay Firewise Partners Forum, we had on Barry from Rancho Romitas, who've been working on their One Road Out campaign, working with neighbors to see any, the one road communities, if there's any other alternative paths, if there happens to be an emergency where people need to evacuate, but that main road has a lot of traffic, or if there's an alternative road or another option for people to take when evacuating. And we have that on our YouTube channel, which I can find here. View our channel at FFC for Monterey County, and so it'd be the one that is titled Wildfire Research, Air Quality, and Community Evacuation. And I timestamped the time that Barry comes on to talk about their One Road Out campaign. They really focused in on what steps they need to take for having it be a community agreement and involving fire authorities as well in that process. Since when there's an evacuation, it's the sheriff or police who take on the evacuation side when an emergency comes up. It's not really the fire authorities that decide those. They inform when it'll be. That makes more sense. But they're not the ones who enforce the evacuations. And online, I'll publish this. I could have it on the Monterey Bay Partners Forum, and as well linked in the bio of the YouTube channel at FFC for Monterey County. So I see another comment on emergency preparedness, hearing from the Department of Emergency Management for Monterey County, CAL FIRE, and sheriffs. Yeah, that would be a great panel to have to see what they have. I think Monterey County Regional had a similar. They had DEM come out and the sheriffs on those procedures of when an evacuation happens and what, how to sign up for Alert Monterey and, what to keep an eye out for when there's an evacuation warning, when there's evacuation order, things like that. Okay. On evacuations. Yeah. So we keep that in mind for future, sessions or forums. Yeah, so right now I'm putting together a 2026 Firewise community needs survey similar to last year's. So if, some evacuations are a bigger priority than, becoming Firewise or chipping or things like that, then we'll take it into consideration for our future programs. Yeah, totally. In the chat, it says communities understand what the agencies expect and what would be helpful from communities. Pam, I see your hand up.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks. Very good. Always appreciate this. I learn something new every time. So just for upcoming questions and responses for the needs survey, one of the things that a lot of our Firewise communities actually was asking about was communications, and how to develop either an internal communication for the larger communities or making sure that they are linked to outside communications. And it would be nice if we had a little bit of a seminar webinar discussing the options that are available and how they can better serve their own communities and the local communities in one of your upcoming seminars.
Yeah, right now, I think most of December and January is more of a planning months to see who we can reach out to for upcoming forums, who or would be best for upcoming meetings, educational events. So we'll keep in mind the evacuation.
And just, I don't know if you, one other thing, I don't know if you mentioned it on your, I was doing something else, I'm sorry, on your list of things that are happening this month, but for Carmel Valley, the Carmel Valley Firewise group is hosting a meeting at the Tularosa School. It is primarily for the Carmel Valley residents, but for those of you who'd like to see how these organizations put together their meetings, you might be interested in attending. It is on the 30th of January from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Tularosa School, and it has some very interesting speakers from the CAL FIRE's. Yeah. Do you have the list of who the speakers are?
Yeah, let me share the announcement.
Yeah, that would be great, because it's an interesting way for people to see what other organizations do. I know space is limited. They had last year's event had well over 100 attendees, so it's definitely something worth
Yeah,
looking.
and pizza provided. Some dinner provided. So here, Kate Daniels. So in Carmel Valley, that's more specific. For emergency preparedness, I'm not sure who they have to speak on it, but I think they will be following more of the DEM guidelines for that. Yeah, last year had a lot of attendees. Yeah, it was a big group that showed out. So it's open to anyone, not just in the Carmel Valley area. Okay, I see Matt left in the chat that CHP may be added to the speaking list for the roundabout, but they're waiting on confirmation. Yeah, the roundabout driving safety tips, again, more specific to Carmel Valley, but there's some good information in the Zone Zero that's been postponed, I think, until, I don't want to say exactly, but later this year, not going into effect just yet. So for the Chillercitos, I think this is the middle school, I think, or let's see. Oh, it's the elementary school. Yeah, so it's 35 Ford Road in Carmel Valley. Thanks, Matt. And in the chat, it says, Lay put a great notice to RSVP with Robles Firewise. They have their website here. Robles Firewise. Here they have all the information. And then to RSVP to know how much pizza and chairs to put out. Yeah, and they have a bunch more information too.
Okay.
Oh, I lost my last notes. All right, here we go. Yeah, so yeah, thank you all for joining today. If there's not any more comments, we can maybe wrap up. I'll have these shared. I'll post them everywhere. I want to celebrate what Firewise has accomplished in the last 5 years and the last year. And I hope to continue in 2026 with this program and with Firewise and continue to support everything you all are doing, boots on the ground. So thank you all. And again, that Firewise or the post-meeting survey will come up after you logged out of Zoom. So I'll stop the recording.